Welcome to Outlaw Woodworking. Today we're going to look at the Oregon 410 bench chain grinder. And you might be wondering, well, John, I thought you liked sharpening your chains by hand. And I do. But recently I put out a video how I sharpen my chains. And I had a subscriber send me a message and say, hey John, you really should check out using a grinder. It's faster and it's more consistent and you'll get a better grind. Or a better sharpening. So I decided to take his advice and try it out. So I'm going to take two old blades, and I'm going to sharpen one by hand, and I'm going to sharpen one with this new grinder. And we'll do a comparison and see which one feels sharper. And I always like learning new things, and I'm never afraid to make a change. So yeah, let's get this set up and we'll give it a try. All right, let's get started. The first thing I do is unbox it and put all the parts out. And there wasn't really many parts, which was surprising. There was only 3. You only needed to, basically, there was 2 bolts to put together, and then there was an Allen bolt to put on the grinding wheel. So you only had 3 things to do. So it was really easy. 1 bolt bolts the back, and then 1 bolt bolts the handle, and you're basically set. And then you figure out, it has a gauge, so you figure out what grinding wheel you use. And in my case, with my chains, it's a .325, and that's the grinding wheel that it has a gauge that tells you which one, and then I mount that on. And it's just 1 Allen screw to mount that on. Pretty easy. So I get this grinding wheel put on, and that's basically it for the assembly. The next thing to do is figure out if you want to put it on your bench or your wall. And in my case, I'm going to mount it to the wall. So right here, this particular corner of the wall had the most wood in it, and I wanted this thing to be really secure. And I kind of liked the location so that I could sit there and actually look out the window at the deer and the turkey, while I was grinding chains. So right there, I get that thing mounted real tight, and proceed to mount this Oregon grinder on the wall. And I like the height of this because I can stand upright or I could sit down. And I actually like standing up doing it better. So I've done quite a few chains on it already, and standing up is way more comfortable. So right here I get all 4 hex lags mounted, and this thing's rock solid. Now here's where you just take your time. So I get an old chain. This chain's been brutalized doing firewood and hitting nails, and it's in bad shape, but I'm going to bring it back to life with this grinder. And I've hand filed this thing many times. The first thing you need to do is figure out what chain you have. And in my case, it's an H30, 60 degrees, 30 degrees filing angle, and 10 degrees file height, .025. And once you have those 3 numbers, basically all you have to do is, the first thing I did was I set the stop. So right there, you see the stop that I'm adjusting right there. You basically, you want that to run into your little gully, but not go into the chain itself. You want it to just get past to the bottom, but not go grinding into your chain. So you get that set first to where you're comfortable with that. And it had a little flex to it, so I set it back a little bit. And that seemed to work out pretty good. So now you got your stop set right where you want it. The next thing to do is set your angle. And in this case, the top plate cutting angle for my chain is 60 degrees. So I adjust that thing to 60 degrees. So you have your stop set, and then you have your angle set. The next up is this front this front angle, which is your top plate filing angle. In my case, it's 30 degrees. So you set that to 30 degrees, and then you basically, in this case, you pull it forward or towards you to get the 10-degree filing angle. And that's it. There's those three angles, and once you get used to doing those, it's really easy. Probably an important part is to figure out, do you want, figure out when you put your chain on there, is it a left hand or right hand when you get started? And if it's a left hand, then you would set it right here at 30 degrees. If it's a right hand, you would go over to you would move that whole thing to the left. Now right here, this is the worst blade. So right here, I figure out, okay, it's a left-hand cutter. So I'm setting up for a left-hand cutter. I set the 10-degree rake by pulling it towards me. And I'm getting ready to start filing this, grinding this chain. So right here, this is going to be the worst one. So I'm going to set the grinding wheel, and I'm going to adjust. First, I adjust it to where the grinding wheel just cuts that tooth. And once I get it to where I'm setting basically I'm right there where I'm adjusting that's setting the depth of the tooth where I'm going to grind it. And once I get that thing set right there, I clamp it down, and that's going to be the cut that I'm going to cut every one of those left-hand teeth. So right here, I check it, adjust it a little bit, and then basically I'll go through and I marked it, and now I'm going to go around and cut every one of those left-hand teeth. And I'm doing kind of quick 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I'm not leaving it on. I don't want the tooth to get hot, so I'm doing quick little hits. Then I switch to the other side, and you're going to do the right-hand teeth, and it's basically the same thing. You adjust it, adjust your depth, figure out which tooth you're going to start with, mark it, and then go through and cut them. Now on this chain, I'm not bothering with the rake. The rake is already filed down really pretty low. But I'm going to compare this chain to how my chains are that I do by hand. So right here, this is a big piece of hardwood. It's a pretty hard piece of wood. And this is the chain from the grinder. And it actually went right through it pretty quick. And this is not an easy piece of wood, even with a brand new blade. So I was pretty impressed that it actually cut through that pretty easy. So what are my thoughts? So after sharpening, I think I sharpened about 5 blades so far. And what are my thoughts on this Oregon 410? I must be honest with you, I'm surprised. It's the blades are turning out as sharp or sharper than me doing it by hand. And I think that's because of I mean, it's close, but I almost feel like this thing's making it more. It's more. How should I say? The consistency. It's more consistent. The width of the blades are more consistent. What I do is, I'll take and find the worst blade, or not blade, the worst tooth, and I'll set it to that, and then I'll grind them. Then you have the same width tooth. So I think surprisingly, I think the consistency of the depth of the tooth after it's sharpened makes it nice. Now, I had good success sharpening by hand, but if a subscriber, he sent in. He told me about this and told me I should try it out, so I decided to try it out. But it was really comfortable. It was easy. It was fast. I think if you had to do a lot of chains, you could do them really quick. And this particular unit for the price, I thought it was going to be cheaply made because it wasn't that expensive. And but it's a solid unit, and I like having it mounted on the wall because I have a bad back, so I could sit here and I could stand upright and very comfortably cut a bunch and watch the deer and turkeys outside. So I thought this was a good spot to put it. Plus I have backing in this wall, so it's really strong on the wall. And it's not too high where I can sit down on a stool and do it also. Yeah, so I have to give it a thumbs up. As far as longevity, I don't know. It'll be just a test of time, see how long it lasts. Everything was really straightforward and easy. I used the guide from my Husqvarna chainsaw chains. So I used the numbers from that in setting it up. And it was pretty easy to set up. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you'll subscribe, like the video, hit the bell, and I'll see you next time. Later.